What's good, y'all? Back again. Another day. It's your boy, the Curtis Short. We in here, man. What's going on? 9:30 isn't the official time. Let me just say that. You know what I'm saying? And I know usually I announce when I'm going on. So this one might not get that many in the chat, and I'm good with that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't announce it. I didn't put it out there or anything like that. This one, it's live until 500. We still don't have 500 subscribers, so we still going live every day until. So this one in particular, what I want to do is just kind of talk about what happened here. Oh, there we go. This evening, I had the pleasure of accompanying my lovely wife to a conference, not a conference, but it was a black. What was it? It was a black It was a networking event for black professionals in sports. There we go. For the ACC. It was hosted by the ACC, which is the Atlantic Coastal Conference, I think, college football, NCAA, ACC division. They had an event for black professionals, and my wife is a black professional in sports. So I accompanied her, which was really dope. Really cool people. I got to network and have some really good conversations, which is always a plus. Linked up with the guy who was the founder of a company. Turns out he went to Hampton University as well. Shout out to Hampton, man. Wifey went to Hampton. And so they had a Q&A period. And during the Q&A period, there was a younger guy who was a college athlete, and he asked, he wants to get into the professional world. And his question was, how does he transition, from certain people and close certain doors and open other doors. And I instantly knew what he was asking, but it seemed like the people on the panel didn't really understand what he was asking. I don't remember exactly how he worded the question, but it was something along the lines of, growth and change and knowing when to like leave people behind. And I'm paraphrasing because again, I don't remember the exact quote in the way that he asked it, but it was along the lines of, knowing when to get rid of certain people in your life so you can make room for new people. Essentially, that's what he was asking. And so everyone else, they started answering the question, but they didn't answer his question. They were just talking about, you know, they were tackling it from a sports aspect. And I don't really think that they were able to give him what he needed. And I thought that this would be a great talking point for a lot of people that are about to graduate high school or are about to graduate college or, have already graduated and they're trying to figure out why their life isn't really progressing or, what's going on there. And so we're going to talk about it. As you can see, the title is Everybody Can't Go. So, I think for a lot of people that watch this, it's going to be something that they already know. For others, it's going to be, it might be a wake up call. But the answer to that question that he was trying to ask, and I think he articulated it very well, but me recalling it, I'm not really, giving him his proper due respect based on how he asked it. But, the truth is everybody can't go, and I think a lot of us know that and we try to fight it, but the truth is the truth. If you're going down one direction and you want to focus on growth and progression and moving up in the world, then you know that certain people aren't meant to go. Instantly, my mind goes back to the TV show Power. When Ghost, like it started off with Ghost trying to get out the game, and the more Ghost tried to get out, the deeper he had to go in, and the more the people around him tried to pull him back into the game. And ultimately, it was his own people that didn't want to see him leave, and so they got him out of here. He left, but he didn't leave the way that he wanted to leave. um, that's a real life testament. You got to leave certain people behind, and I know it's harsh, and I know we don't like to talk about it, and I know it's 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 harsh and it's blunt, but everybody isn't going to go, and the truth be told, everybody doesn't want to go. you know um if you have a vision for yourself and you know where you want to be and you know what you want to get done, you have to understand that other people have visions for themselves and things that they want to see done, and they have their own journey. And when you try to take them along with you, sometimes y'all are looking at totally different directions. Let's say, you got two best friends in high school, and one of them wants to be a police officer because his dad was a police officer, and that's all he knows, law enforcement and whoop de whoop. And his best friend is, just doing a little bit of drug dealing. Obviously, they're on two totally different trajectories. And even though they may have been friends in the past, they're going in two totally different directions. And, that's an extreme example, but it's usually never that extreme. It's, you have your party friends that you hang out with, and then you have your business friends that are usually focused. I remember when I was in undergrad working on my elementary ed degree. Um I had a lot of friends who, they weren't. I can't. All of my friends are. I can say that I did a pretty good job of picking friends. But we just had different goals. Like for me, I always knew I wanted to be extremely successful. I always knew, and not just the mythological extremely successful. Like I'm gonna be a fashion designer or something like that. I just knew that I was going to figure out some way, and I did have a clothing line. I think everybody had a clothing line, but you know um I was just always focused on moving to the next level, whatever that looked like. And I would study more than a lot of my friends, or I would be going to class and they'd be like, yo, you need to go out. Like a lot of my friends, they used to have to drag me to go out because I just wanted to focus. Now granted, I did have fun and I did go out from time to time, but for the most part, I was always also focused on making sure that I did what I needed to do while I was in school. And, you know, fast forward now, I mean, a lot of them I'm still friends with, but, you know, it's just different. And, everybody can't go doesn't necessarily mean that you have to cut off people or you get rid of them 100%. It just means that the relationship that you have may change. Instead of hanging out every day and drinking, maybe you, instead of drinking 7 days a week, you cut it down to 5 days out the week. Which, if you're drinking 7 days out the week, then I don't know what to tell you. Again, another extreme scenario, which I hope isn't the case, but it's the reality. I know a lot of people drink, but you might want to cut down the days that you drink and have 2 days where you just know that I'm just 100% going to be focused, and you got to start in increments. Like for me, for example, back in my drinking days, I made a rule that I would not drink on weeknights. And, especially when I was teaching, that just kind of went without saying. I don't want to be having hangovers at work the next day or sluggish or whatever the case may be. So, it starts with little small things like that. From there, I didn't drink during the week because I was involved in businesses and moving property and things like that, and I just didn't want to be sluggish or drunk throughout the day because I needed to be focused. So just little rules like that. You have to start separating yourself, and sometimes the separation just happens naturally. Like you don't have to have. A lot of people think that when you say everybody can't go, it just means that, you just sit down with your friends and say, you know what, we can't be friends anymore. Now, granted, there are cases where that happens, and you do have to completely cut people out of your life. If you have boundaries that you don't want people to cross, and, if you're on a transition and you're changing, let's say you decide you don't want to drink anymore, and, your friends constantly try to get you to drink, but you say you don't want to drink anymore, but they keep trying to make you drink, then yeah, in that instance, it may need to be what, we just can't be any friend. We can't be friends anymore if you can't respect my boundaries, because I've approached you different times about the same scenario, and you keep trying to make me go down something that I'm not trying to do. But in most cases, you don't have to have those extreme conversations where it's like, I'm just cutting you out my life because you're disrespecting my boundaries. Usually it's something along the lines of, you just don't have time anymore because you're focused on different things. And that's not a bad thing. It's just growth. And again, honestly, I think it boils down to a lot of us know when, hey Ma, how you doing? Y'all, my mom is up in here. How you doing, girl? I was gonna call you earlier. We went to a little networking event today, me and Tommy, so that went pretty well. Y'all, my mama is up in here, man. Y'all show some love to my mom, man. Love that lady, man. Hey Ma, she done got me all messed up. I done lost track of what I'm talking about, y'all. That's my mama. But yeah, man, when you're focused and you know where you're going, sometimes you do have to remove yourself from certain people. And, I think I lost my train of thought. She done threw me off. I love you, girl. Uh, you know, um, People just aren't going to go. And it's not necessarily a cut them out of your life situation. It's just a cut down on the amount of time that you spend with them. Because as you get serious, it's going to require more out of you. And the more you have to put in, the less you have time to focus on a lot of things that don't move you towards your goals. So, like right now, for example, I don't really hang out that much. Well, I got 3 kids, so I don't really do much hanging out to begin with, and I got a wife, so I don't really do that much hanging out. But let's say right now, if I was trying to hang out, I know right now my big goal is focusing on my OSHA 30. And as you can see, I have chapters outlined. Like I made a little ratchet way. Yeah, I could go buy some little paper. No, what are those things called? Some bookmarks. But I just did this because it was right here. But this right here is very important to me. So if somebody was to call and say, "Hey, Kurt, on tonight," let's say maybe, hey, let's go out and do something. It's like, I would love to, but I got to get this studying done because I gave myself a deadline that I need to have this done by. Because, I always talk about credentials and marketability and things like that. I got to make sure that I'm hitting my deadline so I can be as productive as I need to be and as efficient as I need to be. So, those are the sacrifices that you have to make to get the things that you want to do to get. And unfortunately, sometimes that means distancing yourself or separating yourself from people. Like when I first moved up to Charlotte, for example, I got a roommate. That's my guy, Frog. I love him to this day. We talk, but it's cool. Like everybody knows me and they understand that I'm not the friend that we're gonna talk every day, all day. We may talk once or twice a week, but the love is all there. I can hit up Frog right now and it's all good. We went to a game together. But it's like when I moved up here and we were living together, I was going to bed at like 8 o'clock, waking up at 5 o'clock, and I was working from home. So I would be, what I'm saying, facing the computer all day, like just working, and that didn't affect our friendship because our friendship was, he knew that Kurt is just working, Kurt is focused right now. He's on go mode. So, things like that, and a lot of times, if they're your real friends, then they'll understand and they'll be supportive of you because ultimately they want to see you win and they want the best for you. And they'll understand that, everybody everybody has different journeys that they have to go down. And just because I'm going down this journey, that doesn't mean that I love you any less, or, we can't still be friends or we can't hang out. It's just, right now while I'm focused on this, we just don't have time because I can't sacrifice that stuff. When I moved up here, I was in a pretty rough situation. I was in a mindset like, yo, I'm never going back. And so, like I said, I was going to bed at 8 o'clock, waking up at 5 o'clock, and just working. Like I'd be in the office at 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I'd already be working. Just trying to get a head start so that I could be the most competitive out here. And that's what it takes. And it's just a sacrifice, man. And a lot of us, we know that we have to make that sacrifice, but it's like we want somebody to tell us that we need to make that sacrifice, or we want somebody to tell us, we already know the answer a lot of times, but we just don't want to be the ones to admit it to ourselves. Like, you know, you should probably be studying instead of going out on club night. And, you know, club night is fun. Or, you know, just any scenario like that where you have to make those sacrifices and it may be a little painful in the front. But on the back end, you appreciate it. You know, when you go to the award ceremony and you get an award, and not just an award, you get a scholarship, or you get money in your hand, you know, the rewards always make it worth it. Or, you know, in your career, you know, you might not get an award or anything like that, but you might get a raise, or you might get a promotion or a bonus. So, you know, you got to make those sacrifices, and you got to be willing to go through a little bit of pain, because sacrifice is pain. And, you know, we talked about that with the economy the other night. You know, either you determine, you can choose to suffer on the front end, or you can wait until life makes you suffer. You know, Black Friday, it was a lot of sales. You know, I could have easily dipped into the savings and bought stuff and been foolish with the money. But in a couple months, you know, I'd be in a really bad spot because I didn't want to sacrifice on the front end. I wanted to deal with my pain later on the back end. Um, Delayed gratification, man. And that's really what I think a lot of us have to learn how to deal with. And it doesn't get any more fun. You know, the pain doesn't get any easier, but, you know, you get better at it. It starts with saying no with one little thing, and then, you know, you build up. It's like building up a muscle. You know, the first time you get sore, the second time you still get sore, but you don't get as sore. The third time you get slightly less sore, and then the fourth time you don't get sore at all. And then you move up on weight and you start all the way over. That's how discipline works. You know, you say no with something small, and then you build up that routine, and then you sacrifice a little more, and then you be patient, and, you know, you build up that endurance again, and then you say no, or you sacrifice for bigger things. And, you know, a lot of us, we just don't want to deal with pain, and pain is inevitable. We can't get away from it. Like, no matter what we do, as long as we're humans, as long as we're here on this earth, as long as we're breathing, we're going to experience pain. So you have to decide what kind of pain you want to experience. You want to experience the pain on your own terms, or you want to, and this pain that you experience on your own terms, it's still your decision. It's just, you know, life is going to come and life is going to bite you. Like, I'll give you another example. So, you know, right now we're down a vehicle, and, you know, we could have spent that money to get it fixed out the gate, but we decided that we were going to wait. And because we decided to wait, you know, I got the opportunity to learn how to fix it myself, and I saved a bunch of money just off the sheer instinct that, you know, that's too much money, we don't want to spend that, we're going to wait. And if we got to share a vehicle right now until we get back up, then that's what we're going to do. But turns out it was a pretty simple fix. You know, we had to change out a fuel pump, and they were charging like $1,200 for the fuel pump. And I'm telling you, you know, we got the parts to fix the part, to replace the part, and the labor. You know, I'm not paying myself labor, and it was like way cheaper. Like, they were making a huge payday off of that. You know what I'm saying? Fred X, facts, fix that car. 100%, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, man, I'm telling y'all, like, if you get on YouTube and look up these things, you'd be surprised at what you learn. Like, they can literally break down how to fix a car. Granted, it was a fuel pump. You know what I'm saying? Like, and by no means am I a mechanical person. You know, I know how to change a tire because I've had a whole bunch of flats in my lifetime. You know, I know how to check oil, and, you know, I've had to change oil maybe once, twice. You know, I know how to do it, but, you know, as far as getting up under hoods and changing motors and things like that, I've never done that before. So, you know, initially when I found out it was the fuel pump, it was like, man, but something like that really isn't that complicated. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I tell y'all, I think all in, it might have been like $120 for the part, the tools to fix it. Yeah, that's it. Just the parts and the tool to fix it. It might have been like $120. but it would have cost $1,200 to go to the mechanic. You know what I'm saying? And that just comes from being patient. And I think that's something else that we don't really think about enough. But sometimes you do have to be patient. Sometimes you just have to sit back and wait. And even with your friendships, or your networking or your relationships with people, we want to get to the good part so quick. But sometimes we just need to let time take its time, or we need to just relax and let things play out and then react based off of what we're given. And I know personally that that's something that I had to work on myself, just being patient and sitting back and watching how things unfold and then reacting rather than just jumping and making a split decision just to be fast. Speed isn't everything all the time. And even though we're conditioned to think that way, that's not realistic. A lot of people that are really rich are also really patient. They know how to wait and they know how to bid their time and let things unfold and then react based off of what happened over that sense of time. And even with your friends, not all of them, but sometimes you just have to give people time to grow. They're going to grow on their own terms and they're going to come to the light in their own ways. And even with yourself, because you might be that friend and you might just need to give yourself time and don't put so much pressure on yourself and understand that it's a process and you're going to have to be patient. And it may take 10 years, but in those 10 years, you're not just sitting waiting, you're building and you're learning and you're growing gradually. And at the end of that 10 years, you just have a culmination of experiences that give you that expertise to get you where you want to be. A lot of times we look at other people and we think that, they just blew up instantly or they had it easy and we don't really know what they did. And then we look and we compare and we think we should be where they are when we don't understand the time that or the work that they put in or what they did to get there. And so, you know, everybody can't go. And even, we all think that we all have to be bosses. We all think that we all have to be entrepreneurs. We all think that we all are going to be billionaires. Like, it ain't that many billionaires in the world. Let me see. And then if you black, the number drops drastically. Let me see. Black billionaires. Let's do in America because I live in America. Let's see. How many black billionaires are there? I'm going to share it. 9. There's 9 black billionaires. Let me show y'all. There's 9 black billionaires, y'all. 9. Kanye West was up there, but he's not anymore. So there's 9 black billionaires. Let's see how many black millionaires. So you got 9 black billionaires. Black millionaires. How many black millionaires? 2 million. 2 million black millionaires. So you got 9 black billionaires, 2 million black millionaires. How many black people are in America? Let's do black population in the U.S. 41.6 million black people. So more money, more problems. Proud of your growth. Good night. Good night, Ma. I love you. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. So let's see. You got 41.6 million black people as of 2020. So let's do a quick. Let's see. What percent of 2 million? No, of 41 million is 2 million. I hope I worded that right. 4%. Yes. 2 million is 4.87. Call it 5. So out of the, it's right there. So out of the 41 million people that are black in America, only 5% of us are currently millionaires. So, looking at the data and breaking it down like that, it gives you perspective and it gives you, reason. Does that mean that you can't be a millionaire? No, not at all. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you have to understand the odds are highly against you. And the chances of you being extremely successful, there's a lot of things in place that just, the numbers just don't show it. But, you know, you can still be really great and you don't have to have, let me see. Let me not be all doom and gloom. So let me see. What is high income in America? There you go. So to get in the top 20% of America, you need 149,000, or basically you could round that up to $150,000. Guys, $150,000 isn't that hard to attain. It's not. It's not. That's really doable. You just have to sit down, come up with a plan. You have to build the right network around yourself. You have to talk to the right people, and you can get to $150,000. Now, granted, when you get there, obviously you want to keep going because the more money you earn, the more you can build that illustrious generational wealth that we all talk about. But you know, I think we need to focus more on, just taking it one step at a time and building rather than trying to go for the home run every time. And again, I don't want to be discouraging. I don't want to let a lot of people down, but the more I just look at society and the more I look at the world and I look at us, we have this thing where we feel like if we don't live a rapper's life or a celebrity's life, we aren't successful. When I kid you not, there's way more successful people that you don't know that are black than the few rappers that you might know or the few celebrities that you know. And then the other thing about that, which Cashy should have showed everybody, that's an example. Everything isn't always what it looks like on the exterior. We got my boy Superfly Kicks in the building. What's good, brother? I gotta check out the Imam and Year video. I just saw it pop up on my feed, so I'm definitely watching that. I want to see what you got to say about the James Whitner situation. So I'm gonna be looking at that. And I mean, even with James Whitner, I don't want to talk too much about that, but when you're running a business, you just got to be extremely cautious. You think you just get successful or you just get certain things and it's all glitz and whatever, Yorktown, aka. Hey, I think I'm my brother. For the longest, I've been trying to think of a name of what we're gonna be calling him. I think you just saved the day. Bro, shout out to Superfly Kicks, man. I think we're gonna be Yorktown, y'all. I like that. That has a nice ring to it. Let me favorite that real quick. Yorktown, bruh. Like I've been stressing trying to figure out what we gonna call this thing, man. But Superfly Kicks, man. Something about them Memphis cats, man. They just different, bruh. Like, they just different, bruh. Man, we watching, bro. We trying to see what Adam gonna do, man. We rooting, bro. Like you really got the team galvanized, bro. We looking, man. But we just have the wrong concept when it comes to business and just being productive out here, man. We think that we have to live a rapper's lifestyle when, a lot of the rappers that you see aren't really making that much money, y'all. Like it's an illusion, man. And we don't really know that. And I think that it's our job with our platforms. We got to be bringing the truth and we got to bring the reality and we got to let people know, man. Like, you know, yeah, it's plenty of ways to be successful out here, man. It's not just rap or sports or entertainment. Like we can do so much more than that. And granted, I am sitting here and hopefully you guys do find me entertaining. That's the point. That's why we watch YouTube, either education or entertainment. But at the same time, I hope that you are taking something from it that you can actively apply in your life, man. We got my boy Daniel in here. I like Yorktown Inspire Pause. Yeah, man. And then he just said it so casually, bro. Like Yorktown. Like, yo, dog. I'm telling you, man, Superfly, dog. Like Yorktown in the building, bro. Like, man. Wait till I figure out the sound effects and everything, man. I'm still actively learning as I go, man. So, I'm gonna just have to spend some time and just casually figure this thing out. But yeah, man, Yorktown, I think that's it, man. Superfly really just changed the game with that, man. Shout out to Superfly once again. But there's so many ways out here, man. We just gotta start focusing on those more and talking about them more because people genuinely don't know. Like, as I was sitting in the conference, I was listening to those people talk about, the sports avenue, and one of the most important things that they hit on was networking. Now, if you know me, I took notes. And, the lady was kind of alluding to how we don't really have the networks and the relationships that a lot of other people have access to. And that's something that they in their industry were working on trying to change. And that right there is crucial, man. And it ties into what I was saying in the beginning. You have to step out of your circle and you have to step out of your comfort zone, and you are going to enter rooms that everybody ain't going to be able to get into, off the simple fact that they don't want to do what they have to do to get in those rooms. And when I say do what you have to do, I don't mean sell out or shuck and jive or coon or anything like that, because the best way to get into those rooms is being competent and being willing to learn and study and understand, because the more that's more leverage that you have, and that's more powerful. And the more the more value you can provide, and the more value you can provide, people are going to want to gravitate to you and network with you because you bring something to the table. You know what I'm saying? Watching Superfly, like, again, Superfly just gives up so much value, bro. Like, just his presence, dog. Like, he came in here like, yo, Yorktown, bro. Like, that's value. Like, I wish I could tell you how much I've been racking my brain trying to figure out a name for my peoples. And he just casually comes up in here, Superfly, we Yorktown. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's value, bro. Like, you can't put a price tag on that, man. Like, that's crazy, So we got to focus on being valuable. And we also have to focus on knowing our worth and understanding our value. Because it's one thing to be valuable, but it's another thing to know you're valuable. And because if you don't know your value, then people are going to try to take advantage of you, or they're going to try to diminish your value so that they can get leverage on you. And, I know when I was talking about corporate America last night, I didn't really touch on that, but that is a big one. People will always, always, always try to undervalue you. I know Master P often talks about when he was first signing his record deal, and he was like, Jimmy Iovine over at Interscope Records was going to give him $1 million. And he said, if this man is going to give me $1 million and I'm coming off the street, I wonder what I'm really worth. Can you say God is merciful? I sure can. He sure is, merciful, beneficent, gracious, but yeah, man, you got to know your value and you got to know your worth, and you have to understand that people are going to try to diminish your value. They are going to try to tear at your self-esteem. And the reason they do that is so that they can control you. I think back to a lot of my job situations, and it's never like in your face blatant. It's usually a passive way. Like, people will blame you for stuff that you didn't do or that you're not responsible for. Or, people will walk in a room and they'll need a scapegoat or a punching bag, and they'll try to throw it on you. So you got to be aware of those types of things. And even your friends in your circle, you got to watch them too, because they may not mean well. I mean, they may mean well, but sometimes people are used to seeing you one way. And when you grow and you enter a new level, sometimes that offends them. And so you have to reestablish that relationship and let them know, like, I may have been little bro, 2 years ago, but, I'm not little bro anymore. And here's why I'm not little bro anymore. So, if you don't, y'all, I just thought about the movie Goodfellas. I don't know. I know a lot of people that come in and they watch the chat or they watch the playback later on are younger. I don't know where this younger audience came from, but what's up? Shout out to y'all, man. In the movie Goodfellas, let me see. I wonder if I could play it without getting a copyright strike. It was Joe Pesci and the old guy. He was what was his name? He was in the Sopranos. Well, I remember him from the Sopranos. He was the mob boss of New York. But anyway, in the movie, he just kept trying to son Joe Pesci. Like, yo, I remember you back in the day, you were the shoe shining boy. And then he just kept cracking jokes about shining my shoes, And this dude was like a bona fide gangster. Like he had bodies and everything. But the old dude just didn't see him that way. He still saw him as the shoe shining boy. And so, he was like, yo, don't call me the shoe shining boy. And so the dude laughed. He was like, I'm just playing. I'm just busting your balls. You know how the Italians talk. And then he called him the shoe shining boy again. And man, Joe Pesci went, let me see if I can show it. I'm still figuring it out, y'all. I don't know. Let me see. Goodfellas. Because me explaining it is one thing, but seeing it is just different, man. Like, how long is it? It's 4 minutes. So nah, let me see. Billy Bats, that was his name. So yeah, we could watch like a couple seconds of it just so you can get the idea of it. But yeah, man, that's the thing. You gotta teach people how to deal with you where you are, not where you were, because people are really good at not wanting to respect your growth or treating you as if you were the old you when you worked hard to change and be a new better version of yourself. So let me see, share screen. Yeah, y'all, we gotta watch it. Hopefully I don't get a strike for this, but we gotta watch it.
No more shines, Billy.
What?
I said no more shines. Maybe you didn't hear about it. You've been away a long time. They didn't go up there and tell you. I don't shine shoes anymore.
I hope y'all can hear it.
Relax.
Like,
Will you
I don't sign shoes no more. All right. I don't know. Maybe if I pause it, we should be good. But yeah, man, watch this. Go home and get you. He kept trying them, like, let me see.
I'm breaking your balls a little bit. That's all. I'm only kidding with you.
Sometimes you don't sound like you're kidding. There's a lot of people around.
I'm only kidding with you. We're having a party. I just came home. I haven't seen you in a long time, and I'm breaking your balls, and you're right away you're getting.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if I keep pausing, we should be good. I'm still learning these copyright strike rules and whatnot. But yeah, anyways, man, from here it escalates. He kept telling them like, yo, I ain't that no more. I know what you used to. I know what you thought, back in the day. You've been gone for a long time, but this ain't that no more.
Fucking fish. I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you.
I'm sorry, too. It's okay. No problem.
Okay, salute.
He apologized. He just stopped. He was doing his little jokes and everything, and then he apologized, and everything was all good. It's like, cool. I get it. We made a mistake. You thought it was back in the day. It ain't back in the day no more. I told you, this is how I'm coming now. That's how I was back in the day. Pause. And yeah, man. So right now everything's all cool. Everything's all good. But some people, man.
Now go home and get your fucking shine.
Motherfucking you fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. Come on. Let him go.
So it escalated. Yeah. Superfly Kicks know what I'm talking about, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, 100%. And that leads in the hierarchy 100%. So, that's a very valid point too. And I kind of talked about that last night as well. Like, you have to respect the hierarchy. At the end of the day, Joe was 100% out of line for that, you're gonna have to watch it to see how it escalated and what happened from there. But so there's 2 points. The first point, of course, is you got to let people know who you are and where you come from and where you are now, because a lot of people will try to put you in a box and they'll keep you there. If you listen to old Kanye interviews, he always used to talk about how people always wanted to 100%, and we gonna get there, dog. Because I don't want to lead people astray. You brought up a you brought up a valid point. He did. So yeah, you do want to let people know that you aren't the same person that you were at the long back in the day. But however, on the flip side of that coin, like Superfly Kick said, very, very, very valid point. You have to respect the chain of command, and you have to respect hierarchy, even though Joe did what he did, and he let him know that I ain't that guy anymore. At the same time, he extremely overreacted in that situation, because at the end of the day, the guy that he ended up messing with and it went left, that guy was a made man. And if you don't understand how the Italian mafia works, the made people are untouchable. You can't mess with them, unless you get the go ahead from somebody that is above you, you know what I'm saying, or somebody that's solidified. It's like the chain of command at your job. I think, yeah, that was last night I talked about it, where even though I was watching the movie, I think it was Hot. I don't remember what it was called, but it was about the guy that invented the hot fries, the sauce for the hot fry. Yeah, the hot Fritos. But he went straight to the CEO with his recipe for the hot fries, and he went over his manager. Like, he was a janitor. So, he was basically, I won't say he was at the bottom of the totem pole, but there was in realistically, the chances of him going all the way to the CEO and superseding everybody else, you know what I'm saying? That's just extremely unreal, because there's always protocol, there's always procedures, there's always a depth chart, and there's always a hierarchy that you have to follow and you have to be respectful to. And yes, 100%, ego can get you hurt. So I'm glad you touched on that, because I can, if you explain one side, you have to explain the other side. So yes, you can let people know that you have grown and you have changed, but at the same time, there's a very tactful way to do it, and there's a very strategic way to do it. The last thing you want to do is be emotionally overreacting, because like Superfly said, he ultimately died. It ended up costing him, and it goes back to discipline, man. Discipline. So I think I mentioned it last night. There's a book by Jocko Willink called Discipline is Freedom. Let me see. Discipline is Freedom. Let me show y'all. I love talking about a good book. Discipline, man. A lot of people run away from discipline because they think that discipline is boredom, or people don't like being told what to do. But when you have discipline, there is so much that opens up to you. This is a really good book, Discipline is Freedom by Jocko Willink. Let me see. This is the field manual. I don't think this is the actual book. But yeah, there's a book, or maybe this is it. All of Jocko's books are good, by the way. I like Jocko Willink. But Discipline is Freedom, man. Having discipline, it opens doors for you, it builds consistency, and it allows you to perform at a high level, because it takes a lot of the thinking out of the way. So if you watch a lot of sports players, like if you look at certain sports players interviews like Tom Brady or Kobe Bryant, when they talk about what they did on the field, a lot of times they don't remember, or they'll say that it seemed like time was slowing down, or they were playing with a bunch of little kids. The reason that they can do that is because those people are highly, highly, highly disciplined. They put in a lot of hours, and this goes back to, I like that Superfly brought that up, because you can bridge everything back. This goes into sacrifice. So if you look at Kobe Bryant sacrificed a lot of his time to be as efficient as possible. Tom Brady sacrificed his marriage. He sacrificed a lot of time out of his kids' life to have 6 Super Bowl rings, and that requires discipline, man. I don't think that we talk about discipline enough, and in terms of being able to sacrifice, that does require discipline, and discipline requires separation. If you look at any religious text and you look at any prophet, they they had to sacrifice. They took isolation, they separated themselves, and they engaged in extreme discipline, you know, and that is what we have to do, man. And everybody can't go because everybody isn't willing to sacrifice and everybody isn't willing to live under discipline and follow routines and consistency. So yeah, man, Superfly again. I'm telling y'all, man, that's the man, y'all. But I'm gonna go ahead on and wrap this one up, man. We'll be back tomorrow night. Um, I don't know, wherever the wind blows, that's what we're gonna talk about. It's a big Friday. I know a lot of people stream on Friday, so I may not go on this channel. I may hop in somebody else's channel. Um, Guys, do me a favor. If you like this information, if you thought it was useful, then share it with somebody else who may need to hear this. It helps the channel out. The more people that see it, the more I feel like coming on here and chopping it up with y'all. Boy, discipline on a spiritual level, that form of higher freedom, man, man. I'm gonna say this, and some of y'all might not catch it, some of y'all might not get it, but if you're a spiritual person, if you're a religious person, the highest form of power is submission. The highest form of power is submission. If you're able to submit to a righteous cause or a righteous God, then what I'm saying, your power is limitless because it's not on you anymore. It's not on you anymore. So with that being said, I'm signing out, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. Shout out to my brother Superfly for the name, man. That brother right there is just golden, man. Shout out to everybody else. My mom came through tonight. My brother Dan came through tonight. Like I said, if you found value in this, share it with somebody that needs to hear it. And we out.